guys, welcome to Andrea Loves Everybody. I'm your host, Andrea Gazzetta, and this is a podcast where every week I interview a guest about a specific challenge or experience they faced in love. And today I have with me the awesome Keith Carey.
Hey, that's me. You got through the whole intro.
Man, oh God, it's so hard. I'm so bad at this.
I saw you hit a speed bump right around "my name is," and it was a rough ride from there. We white knuckled through it, and you made it happen.
I'm so sweaty for some reason.
I know you look
50 degrees out.
like you look like we just switched bodies. Where I'm like very fine, and you're just like, what's happening to me?
Why am I so sweaty?
I'm damp and afraid. Help!
Oh, that's my normal state of being.
Original name of this podcast:
Damp
and afraid.
Oh, man. As you can tell, I love this guest, Keith Carey. I like to start off this podcast by telling the guests something that I love about them.
Oh.
Keith is super funny. He's the host of the Mean Boys, one of the hosts of the Mean Boys podcast, which sounds like it's the opposite of this show, but very similar, oddly enough.
Is it?
No.
Okay, good. 'Cause I was like, I've listened to one episode of your show, and I don't think they're the same thing.
It's not similar at all, but you guys aren't that mean, which you like. Truthfully,
yeah.
I feel like you guys promote a lot of like love and kindness through
we try to
being mean.
Yeah, well, what's funny is we called it Mean Boys because when it started, it was me, Joe, Dosh, and Connor. The joke was it was super queer, and it was like a Mean Girls like knockoff because it's like, you know, Joe's gay, I'm bi, and Connor is kind of a fag. So like it all tied together and made sense. Now it's just like two fat guys and Connor, so now it just feels like we're some sort of meathead, just like fucking Mean Boys, dude. Like I was in New York and talking to like some people who had never heard of the show, and they just assumed we were like Opie and Anthony knockoffs. I'm like, no, we love everybody.
Oh, just like me. See,
yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah, we're
totally
the same thing.
So we look alike. It's very similar.
No, and we like you too a lot, actually. We want to have you come on Mean Boys.
Oh,
yeah,
that'd
we were
be
just talking
super
about that
fun.
today, actually.
Oh, you guys are so nice.
Yeah.
So actually, I want to say, because this is something that I like to say when people don't know that I knew them earlier. The first show I ever saw you do, the first time I ever saw you do stand-up, was in a warehouse. I was one of 6 audience members.
Oh, no.
And it was before a rap. It was the day before a rap battle.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that sucked.
And it was really funny, though.
Well, thank you.
You gave a great, I feel like a lot of the other comics got pretty dejected, and I feel like you still gave a pretty good performance for 6 people in this empty warehouse.
I'll tell you the secret about why I did that. It's because they paid me.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So I was like, so I can't bullshit this. And then I realized, oh, wait, they paid me before. I could have bullshit.
You totally, yeah.
I don't know. My thing is, like, I've done so many, like, shows for 6 people. Like, we all do it.
Oh, totally.
And I used to be that guy who'd just be like, no, fucking nobody's here. I'm going to be a bummer. And I'm like, you can try, and maybe it'll be fun at least.
Yeah, I did a show with Paul at that Vampire Lounge. And there were 6 people, and it was super fun. I was like, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna make fun of everyone in the bar.
Right.
I'm gonna not, just have a good time because
you're
whatever.
there. Yeah.
You're there.
You don't want to do it? Fuck you. Go home. Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good time. So what I kind of brought you in here to talk about today. First of all, you've lived an insane life.
I have. Yes.
Just there's so much to talk about. But I think I kind of want to focus on. You are bisexual.
I am. Yeah.
And you're a dude.
Correct. You said that like you weren't
I'm
sure.
batting 2 out of 2 here.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing well. And you're also, I would say, are into some more adventurous sexual experiences.
I feel like a lot of that has gotten conflated into me being sort of perceived as this weird, like, sexual monster who's just like super into crazy shit. I will. Jesus Christ, Al.
Hi, Al.
Just snuck in here like the ghost of the 70s. I died at a fondue party. I know it's good. This is what I wanted around while I talk about deep things about my sex life.
This.
Just Al creeping over my shoulder. No, yeah, I've definitely done. There's not a lot I haven't done.
Okay.
Sexually, I will kind of try anything once or twice. There's certain stuff I like, certain stuff I don't. Some of those stories have become more public than others, partly because of the podcast. And it's never the good ones. It's never the ones about times I had a great time. It's the time when we watched that thing with the dog, like stuff like that.
It happens.
Yeah.
Hey, not to me, but to you. It happens.
on a long enough time when it happens to us all.
But
yeah, I am. And I think part of that, too, just comes from, like, as a bisexual, especially as a bisexual dude, I think people just assume you're a straight up whore constantly. Like, they're always like, oh, you just fuck everybody, which not true about me. I don't know. I'm kind of a whore, but I'm also kind of, I'm at a weird crossroads with the sex stuff where I'm like, I can't decide if I want to, like, try and chill out and fall in love or if I want to just keep being a whore because it's easy and I know how to do it.
This is a podcast about love.
Yeah.
You've been in love before, right?
I've been in love so many times.
Have you ever, like, have you been in love with men and with women?
I've been in love with plenty of women. I've never really been in love with a man. I have a weird relationship with sort of the bisexual stuff where, like, I grew up in Orange County, very conservative place, very homophobic parents. So, like, I wasn't able to come out until I was, like, way older. And I came out, like, in the middle of, like, back-to-back, like, hetero relationships. And then it was, like, a thing where I don't really know how to romantically engage with a man. Like, I'm not socialized that way. My brain still...
None of us are.
Yeah, and my brain still is telling me, like, it's kind of, like it's wrong or it's weird, even though I know it's not. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of fighting my own... Like, I know how to fuck a dude. Like, that I can do very easy. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's super easy for me. Like, that's sort of like... Because Grindr is a horrifying sexual nightmare. It is a straight-up meat market, and it is truly upsetting. But, like, I know how to do that. Like, that I can figure out, but I don't really know how to, like, go on a date with a guy. And I would love to. That sounds great, but I get nervous about it, and I get weird.
Because part of the thing was when we're in a heterosexual relationship, there's like the dude asks the girl, and like there's these kind of like heteronormative guidelines of what masculinity is and like how you navigate that. And so I feel like I've kind of felt the same way. Like I have had experiences I haven't had sexual experiences with women, but I've had experiences where I'm like attracted to women and I'm like, oh, I like this. Like I kind of like her. I maybe try that out or whatever. But it's like, I don't know how to tell that person. Like, what do you say? What do you do?
It's like, what is the move?
It's weird.
And I feel a weird, because I'm like, I'm very good at dating. Like I know how to, date women. I know how to talk to women in that way. But like with guys, I don't really know how. And then I get like insecure about it because I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to seem like a weird, socially awkward chud. Where these guys are like,
no eye contact. You're just like, will you go out with me, please? Okay, bye.
Yeah, okay, goodbye.
Like, leave.
And like I feel like then I get insecure about like, okay, I'm bringing my lack of like experience or lack of knowing how to deal with this into your whole shit, and then I feel like I'm going to be the dork here.
Well, and are you? Like when you approach a man, like, do you know if he's gay or not? Or
well, that's the other thing is like, so pretty much, I would say 90% of the gay experience I've had have been via like online stuff.
Okay.
So via like if you meet a guy on Grindr, it's a pretty good guess he's gay. It's
that's a good wow.
Yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah. It's call me Sherlock Holmes, but I figured it out. But like the only other couple times it's happened in like just sort of like organically has been like friends who were closeted, and then it became like sort of like a weird thing. And that was more when I was younger. Like when I was a kid. That was
especially if you're like in Orange County.
Yeah, it's like a real underground railroad kind of situation. But yeah, so I don't even know how to, and like I'll see guys who I'm like, oh, I think you're cute. I like, think you're cool. I would like to talk to you, but then I'm like, I don't know if you're gay, and like I don't want to have that. I never want to put somebody in that awkward position of having to tell me they're not gay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then I'm like, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for me. There's also every once in a while I might get beat up for this.
Right. That's
angle of it.
Well, I mean, and you kind of talk, I was watching some of your stand-up before, and you have a bit in your stand-up about being, telling audiences that you're bisexual and like men coming up to you afterwards.
Yeah. Well, straight dudes are very threatened by it in a weird way because they feel... There's something about straight men where they're always convinced that like gay dudes are trying to pull one over on them and like trick them into gayness. Which I mean, look, I'm not going to lie and say it's never happened. I
actually know of some specific instances that's
No, I know some specific instances where I've done it, but like not in a deceptive way where I'm just like, haha, I tricked you. But like that's like sort of the panic they have in their head. So they get real weird about it. And I almost think the fact that like I don't present super queer. Like, like if I don't tell people, it's like I feel like I've been trying to work a joke about it, but like I feel like an undercover cop where I'm like I have to like tell people ahead of time. Like there's like a weird rule, so it's not entrapment later. But I think because of that, I think when I tell people, like when people find out, like dudes kind of get like weird and like flexy, like they think I'm going to try and trick them, and I'm like, I'm really not.
Well.
Like,
why do they think they can be tricked so easily?
That's kind of my thing. I'm just sort of like,
very confusing.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have a joke. It's on my album where I'm like, if you can get talked into sucking a dick, you were just gonna suck a dick. Like, maybe not that one, but it was gonna happen at some point.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think so. I was reading things because that's how I learn stuff.
You don't say.
I don't have experiences. I just read stuff.
Okay.
But I was reading about bisexuality and kind of like, have you ever had problems being bisexual and dating women and having them be insecure about that?
Yes. That's actually been like a weirdly a big thing lately.
Okay.
Where I've talked to a lot of girls who get like, we'll meet on like, online dating stuff or like in person or whatever, and we'll like get along great. And then that'll come up and all of a sudden they'll get weird and clammy. And I had one girl just should be like, yeah, I will never date a bisexual dude. Like it's a hardline rule. And I was like, that's dumb.
Why?
Like,
what was her reasoning?
she had a couple reasonings. One of them was like the one that she presented that like she presented it as a joke, but I think people genuinely are insecure about, especially women. She's like, well, I feel like you'd be comparing me to like a dude, like sexually.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
Yeah, like girls have this weird idea that like gay dudes suck dick better, and I'm just like, you're both fine, it's some sort of weird Charlie Daniels like fiddle off scenario. But that was part of it. She's sort of like, well, then you could cheat on me with anybody because like, it's a weird thing because it's like I'm not all like I dated the girl I did who was the coolest with who I dated for like 4 years. Like I came out while we were dating.
Okay.
And she was, and I was like, hey, I'm bi. I'm gonna tell people. Like I feel like I should give you a heads up before I tell other people. And she's like, cool, but you're just gonna keep having sex with me, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's correct. She's like, great, fine. Like
That's
I don't really give a
awesome.
shit. Yeah, and that's all it means is I watch different porn sometimes. Like that's really about it. Once I'm in a
Were you already watching different porn
I've been watching. Yeah,
in the cloud, like before you came out to people?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like that was day one of kind of figuring it out. It was like finding gay porn and being, well, this is just great.
How old were you when you figured that out?
I mean, I kind of knew. The truth is, I kind of knew I was bi from like 6 years old. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, I knew very, very. I was like a super like a sexual kid, which I know is a weird combination.
I
of
was a
words.
super non-sexual kid, so I totally all kids explore themselves, right?
Yeah,
I never did.
Yeah, I was like, I was one of those like the kids who like come off a little creepy, where I'm just like, you're 9, how do you know what anal is? And a lot of that comes from the fact that I grew up around some weird elements and was just exposed to maybe some stuff. But I remember specifically being 6 years old and seeing the video for Basket Case by Green Day and Billy Joe Armstrong being the first boy who I'm ever like, oh, I want to kiss that boy.
Aww.
Yeah, that's a 100% real thing. And then I kind of knew, and like, I was a little kid, so I didn't really know what any of that meant. But that was sort of like, whenever I think about like, when did you know, that was like, that's always the moment I flash back to.
When you were 6, that's crazy.
6, maybe 7, but like somewhere in that ballpark.
I didn't. So
What's up?
Which video?
Basket Case. Yeah, that's when he looks all methy and fucking wild-eyed. He kind of looks like my stepdad, which fucking...
okay, that's a lot to unpack.
Oh, yeah. Look, man, none of this is a great story.
Okay.
Are you okay, Andrea?
No, I'm totally okay.
Man,
It's totally
I
fine.
just love that, like, the more uncomfortable you get, the more Wisconsin you turn.
Oh my goodness, I think I have to go bake a pie now.
Oh
I'll
my
be right back. I'm actually like actively baking goods. Yeah, I think I didn't really know that like kids were like sexual because I didn't have my first sexual experience till I was 18. Like I didn't
Holy
know
cow.
girls could come. Like I didn't think girls could enjoy sex. I'd never kissed anyone. Like I
Right.
didn't know anything.
Yeah, and I don't think it's every kid. I don't think there's anything like wrong with it. I just very young was sort of like, all right, I don't quite know what sex is, but I know it's great.
Yeah,
Like
no, for
I've never
sure.
told this story anywhere before. God, this is so fucking embarrassing. So right I want you to know, I'm only telling you this story, and I only came here because I actually think you're a very nice person. I won't be judged
okay,
for this.
Thanks, Keith.
Oh, God, some mean boys kid. Okay, whatever, I'm just going to tell the story. So when I was like, God, I would have had to have been 8, 7 or 8, like real young.
Okay.
So I got the birds and the bees talk right around then.
Wow.
And I didn't get it in a super positive. So basically, my mom was nodded off on heroin for a couple days. Well, I was having my stepdad, not the Green Day stepdad, the new stepdad who was a Nazi.
Is this a third stepdad? Second stepdad? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think third, technically. Yeah.
Are we keeping track?
Yeah, there's a lot. My mom just got her 5th wedding. But anyway, he sits me down and he like gives me like the, this what sex is, this is how it works. But then starts going like way deeper into stuff. I'm like, all right, apparently, but sometimes daddy pees on a mommy. Like
what?
Yeah, it was like explaining like
when you were 8, he told you that?
Yeah, butt sex and like don't be gay unless you go to jail. That was a component of it.
Unless you go to...
He had been in prison for a little while. So I think he was just trying to get himself off the... We found out some stuff about him later.
Was he also bisexual, probably?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a lot of stuff. But anyway, so I got the talk. I had too much information. No real like outlet valve for it. So when I was a little kid, so what I did was I knew I wanted to like have sex with a lady. But I didn't really know what that meant. So what I did is I like snuck into my room and I had like a notebook and I wrote a list of like sexual things I would want to do to a lady. I remember, I don't know why, but I remember somehow somebody told me a vagina was called a hairy. So I remember the phrase, I want to put my wiener in your hairy being on that paper. There were a lot of other ones.
I hope you had a lock on that diary.
Oh, well, no, hang on. I drew some diagrams.
Oh my God.
I did some very crude stick figure approximations of what I thought sex was. And this is my plan. I swear to God, this is what I thought was going to work. I was going to put it in a balloon, right?
And call a girl from the heavens?
I was going to float it. Well, because my mom had told me a story about one time she fucking put a note in a balloon just like, oh, if you find this, call me. Like, it's like a fun little, like, let's see where the balloon goes. And I was like trying to do that.
That's how you gather women.
Basically, I invented carrier pigeon Tinder. And then instead what happened is somehow my mom found the paper and I had a bunch of like her and my stepdad's friends over and they read it aloud to the group.
Oh my God.
In front of me. Like
they didn't talk to you about it like
No,
privately?
they just made fun of me and said I was a fucking weirdo.
Oh my God.
And I remember so specifically one of my stepdad's friends looking at me and just going, hey bro, we all perv out sometimes. I'm like, thanks, 40-year-old man.
I mean,
I'm going to go be afraid of my sexuality forever.
That sounds like a green light, though, you know?
I mean, look, here's the thing. It's probably for the best it didn't go in the balloon.
I just, like, did you...
Because I don't think anybody would have been like, oh, it's a sexually adventurous child. They would have been like, oh, that's a murderer. Man. It's one of those murder fellas that you read so much about.
They'd start being, like, put, like, an APB, like, they, like, put the photo on the news. They're like, I think we should start locking doors more. I think we should... Someone's around. We don't know who. Oh my God. That's wow.
I can't believe I told that story.
I mean, I didn't know anything. Like, there's no school. There's no like, hey, this is what you do.
What do you mean? There
people.
Is school.
No, but I mean for like sexuality.
They didn't teach sex ed?
I mean, they put a condom on a banana. That's not the same thing. Like,
they didn't teach you like this.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing it with my hands like you don't know now.
Well, like I didn't even know women could come until I came. Do you know what I mean?
I know women who still don't know they can come.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's like, but I think it's so weird because like we're all like sex is this thing that's ever present in our lives. We all want to do it, probably.
Yeah.
You know?
I do think it's weird though that because how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, yeah, me too. So we are literally the last generation that's going to not have access to like
to pornography.
Well, and not even just porn, but like sexual information. Because you could Google, what is sex, and there's going to be, you're going to find porn, but there's also going to be articles sort of explaining what it is. Like, there's really no way for a kid to not figure that shit out now.
Well, and now for like kind of like the sexual revolution for women, there's like whole websites on like how to come. Basically.
Yeah. Somebody who I used to date sent me a very passive aggressive 15-page article about how to properly eat pussy.
Okay.
I was like, all right, calm down, you. But yeah, I mean, that information is all out there. It's interesting to me because I feel like there's almost too much where I feel like if you're like a kid who like, I think that would have been useful to me as a kid, but I also think there would have been so much garbage floating around.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
and misinformation.
And just the amount of pornography that exists for kids to stumble on, I feel like is going to fuck a whole generation of people up.
Well, I think that pornography is already kind of like in some ways it like the sexual information like helps the men and women sex thing.
Right.
And then in some ways I think that pornography gives dudes kind of some weird ideas about what we like.
Yeah, it does. Well, it's always so interesting because the reality is like, you know, not every woman is the same. Not every dude is the same.
Right, exactly.
But I feel like there's sort of this binary where either you're the kind of dude who's fucking retarded and it's just like, oh, girls want to get fucked like in porn. I'm going to choke you. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, no one ever wants to be fucked like in a porn. I'm going to treat you like this beautiful like princess. I'm like, nah, some girls really do want to get choke fucked. Like,
well,
and that's fine.
Maybe we want a bit of both.
Well, yeah,
know?
the reality is you should ask. And they never show the part in the porn where the guy's like, how do you want to get fucked? You know what I mean?
I think that the like kink is we kind of talked about this a little bit. So like kinkiness stuff, I've had a weird experience where before I moved to Los Angeles, I was in pretty much just long-term relationships back to back to back.
Okay.
So all of my sexual experiences were with people that I had considered friends first, and we dated for a long time. And so like we got very sexually adventurous because they're people that I trust.
Right. And we talked about this a little bit the other night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think it is like, especially for me, I think too, like I'm way more comfortable exploring weird kink shit with somebody who I do trust.
Right.
And don't feel judgment. Because there's like, you know, you have that weird thing where you're like, I know I want to do this, but I'm going to feel weird if I tell some guy off Tinder that I want to do this. And he's like, ew.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and and the thing is like, if I'm with my partner and I love them and we've already been having sex for 6 months to a year, it's like, sure, man, let's try it. You like this? I love you.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you, even if it's not my thing. And then it becomes your thing because you love this person so much and it turns them on so much. Like, this is great.
It's
let's
like even if you don't love the thing, you're like, but I like how much they like.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean?
And so you kind of experience a secondary gratification through their pleasure, right?
Exactly. No, that's 100% perfect. And like, you know, we do that kind of shit with non-sexual stuff all the time.
Totally.
You know? I've had so many girls who are like, I don't care about Marvel movies, but I'll go see them with you.
Yeah,
you know?
it's bonding.
Yeah.
It's just how you are bonded to people.
Bondage
bonding. It's, you know, it's adorable, you know, it's leather and it's cute.
I just want to dom your heart.
Aw, that's an adorable Valentine.
Right?
It's just like a face mask Valentine. Aw,
it's like a gimp with a ball gag, with the ball gag is shaped like a heart.
Aw, it's so tender. But since I've moved here, I've had a difficult time because like the longest sexual relationship I've had with anyone in Los Angeles is like 6 weeks.
That's great. I mean,
It's
I think
so weird.
There is such a like high turnover rate here.
Yeah.
Like everything feels so disposable and so like non-committal. And I think it's a generational thing because we have access to everybody. And it's like, it's that FOMO thing. It's like, well, if I'm just fucking you, then there's 40 other people I could be fucking. But I think also it is like an LA thing. There's something weird about always kind of looking for the bigger, better deal.
Thing.
And this like lack of like commitment, like it's uncool to like give a shit about anything.
But then everyone's lonely and sad and their sex sucks.
It's insane. That's the thing. Like everyone's having all this sex. None of it's very good. And we're all miserable living by the beach.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
What's happening?
What the fuck are we like? I just deleted all my dating apps like yesterday because I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to like.
I hate it.
I don't like. I want to fall in love with somebody. I want to like have something more. Shut up.
I'm all about love, man. That's the thing.
I am, and
I love it.
And I mean, you know, look, I like sex. I like casual sex. I like, you know, if anyone listening wants to have it, please slide into my DMs. But at a certain point, it does kind of get burned. And I think I'm going 100 different directions here.
Please,
so
this is what
if you need to get me back on track, feel free. Because this is also just shit I needed the therapy talk through.
Yeah, this is kind of what this is for. This is something that I'm really interested in. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so it's like I growing up, like I was always a fat kid. I was always kind of an awkward person. I was always sort of told I sucked. Girls didn't like me. Nobody liked me. You know, guys didn't. That wasn't even an option.
I was the weird girl that made cat noises. So I really just, it's fine.
And I grew up so weird and so like, feeling like so like sexually insignificant because I was like, no one's ever gonna want to fuck me, you know. I lost my virginity to a juggalo, like
a girl.
Yeah, a juggalette, I guess technically. Yeah. But like it's, you know, I mean, and no disrespect to the juggalo community, but like, it set a tone, you know what I mean? And the joke was always like, oh, Q's never gonna fuck. So like then at a certain point, you know, you grow up, you realize it's not that hard to get laid. You get charming, you know, you start doing that. You fall in love a few times. You do the whole casual thing. And I think part of my brain sort of tripped up where it became this like almost hoarding mentality. It's like it's not that I'm having sex with one person that validates me. It's that I can have sex with all these people. And that validates me because it's like, okay, I'm not what they said I was. I'm like able to do that. Like I'm desirable.
It's a sexual currency.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm realizing now that is super gross and not a fun way to live at all because it doesn't make me happy anymore.
Does it make, I mean, did it ever make you happy?
I mean, to be honest, yeah. Like okay. Happy is such a hard term to define because it's like, are you happy if it doesn't last or was that just like a fleeting thing? But no, I mean, it definitely made me more confident. I think it made me more self-assured. I think, you know, periods when I have sort of felt creatively fulfilled, I've also felt, you know, sexually confident and vice versa. I think those things have fed into each other for a while. But now I'm just kind of like, I've sort of, the usefulness of that lifestyle is outweighed by how much it bums me out.
Yeah, it's sad. It makes me so sad.
And I want to be clear because, and the way I'm saying it, you know, it sounds shitty or exploitative, and it wasn't. Like I try to be very upfront. Like, and I was talking to another friend of ours about this, and he was like, one of the things that I think makes you, because somebody accused me of being a fuckboy, and I was like, I don't totally know what that means, but I don't think I'm one.
I think if you tell women up front what your intentions for the relationship are, it's fine.
I never try to lie to anybody or like, you know, pretend that I'm offering up something I'm not or, you know, like, you know, if I like somebody genuinely, you know, I will go on more dates with them. I don't just want to fuck them. Like I've never ruled that out. But sometimes it's just like, yeah, this is like a sex thing. And I'm always like, if you're cool with that, we can keep doing this. If you're not, let's not do it. Like, I just don't want to, you know, mislead. And some people are cool with that. Some people aren't. But the point is, like, I'm not trying to hurt people, but I think that, like, I was almost hurting myself with the way I was doing shit. Does that make sense?
It totally does. Okay. I think it's difficult because, like, no matter what your intentions are, the way, like, sex is such an intimate experience.
Yeah.
It's difficult to have that over and over with people and also kind of try to shut them out from other parts of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
And it feels weird. And I kind of, the wall I hit with it is I was seeing a girl for a minute who, it was like a very just sex only thing. And she was like super shitty to me in every other aspect. It was just like, yeah, just come over and fuck me. We're not friends. And at first I was like, well, this is easy peasy. Because we had very good sex.
Okay.
But we had literally no other human connection at all. It was like, all right, I can watch half of a TV show with you, fuck you twice, and then leave. Like, that's that's the thing we can do. And at a certain point, I was just like, this isn't even worth, like how this makes me like feel this sort of like emptiness when I'm done having sex with you is not worth how good having sex with you is. Like, those values have shifted in my brain.
I've tried to have casual sexual experiences, and I just panic and run away real fast.
I just want to point out it is very weird. Like, this is the most real I've ever talked about this, and there are just two fat men giggling in the corner. But I
love you, Al.
I love you too.
Love you, Paul.
I also love that I had the audacity to call either of you fat. Well, you, fair enough. You, yeah, you're doing well.
This podcast doesn't promote calling anyone fat unless they want to call themselves
There's nothing
fat.
wrong with being fat. It's just funny. Anyway, sorry, you were saying, shut up, Al. So you've... I snapped into mean boy mode. This is my defense mechanism.
Tom isn't here. You can't just do that to Al. Tom is the whipping boy of mean boys.
He's going to be more famous than all of us.
And you know what the thing is, though, is he takes it so well.
Yeah.
I don't feel super bad. I do feel bad for him sometimes, but he's so good-hearted about it.
A lot of it is a put on too.
It is.
Like, we like Tom on the show and Tom in real life are a little different. But
yeah.
Anyway, so you were saying you've tried to have casual sex.
I tried to
panic and run away.
It's really bad. The first time I tried to do it, I'd only been with my one boyfriend.
Okay.
But like all my girlfriends were like getting dick, you know? And I was like, I enjoy sex. I will also try that. And then I went on Craigslist and then...
Oh my God. Hang on a second. Craigslist is not casual sex. Craigslist is like you're risking a kidney to maybe get eaten out badly.
It was because this was on before Tinder.
No. I fucked around on Craigslist.
There was like a long time ago.
I went to a Craigslist glory hole once.
What? Keith.
Wait, have you never heard that story?
I think you said it on the podcast once, right?
I might have. Yeah, basically this guy posted in the ad like, I have a glory hole, come to my apartment and put your dick in it and then I'll, suck it or whatever. But it was more eloquently written than that, but I was like, neat.
Were you afraid of getting like a disease or something?
A disease? No. Well, what's so funny? People always bring that up and people are like, oh, you're going to get like murdered or you're going to get a disease. Murdered? Sure.
I mean, you could get HPV. I guess everyone has.
Yeah, there is no fucking planet where I don't already have HPV. Like, I'm being honest. Everybody has it. There's no way to check it for it in a dude. I like to party, and I probably have HPV. I'm fine with that. No, I mean, my thing is, like, people say, oh, you're going on Craigslist, and, you're going to get a disease. And I'm just like, why do you think these are different people than the people that are also on Tinder? Why do you think these are different people than the guy you're meeting at the bar? It's the same person. They're just being more honest. Yeah. On Craigslist. They're not, there's no subterfuge. They're like, my face isn't here. Come fuck me through a wall.
Well, I think there's a lot. Like, we just never know the kinds of selves that people are hiding. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many people that just like aren't really even comfortable with who they are in their sexuality. So it's like, you might not find out for years that a person is into glory holes, Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and the fact
that dude's probably married with a wife.
The fact that you're keeping it low key does not mean it's inherently dirtier or more likely to get a disease. And that's always a thing that I've always thought is kind of interesting, the way people perceive that. But yeah, he had a glory hole like built in his apartment. So you walked into the foyer, and then he had just built these 3 walls, and then the hole was cut out. There were pictures of dicks, just staple gun to it. Not even like porn dicks, just like medical grade dicks. And then there was a list of rules next to the glory hole. It was like, don't climb on the walls, don't put anything but your dick through the glory hole. My favorite one was the one that just said, if you want to fuck my ass, just ask, and then had the smiley face emoji. Yeah, that was a weird experience.
I mean,
it wasn't bad.
He's crafting. He's putting time and effort into his passions.
This was 2 trips to Home Depot. Like, this is a fucking And my thing was just like, because I would tell people that, and they would be like, "Ew, that's so fucking gross. How could you do that?" And I'm like, I don't know. Everybody involved had a good day. You know what I mean? I got to get blown. He got to blow somebody through a glory hole, which obviously he's a big fan of.
Yeah.
So, I don't know who got hurt.
If everyone's having a good time, I think it's fine.
Yeah, and like even in the emails, like we were like, we were joking around, and it was like it was fun and playful, and it didn't feel like grimy back alley nonsense.
I have a question. Did you talk to him through the wall when you got there, or was there no talking?
Very briefly. Like
interesting.
It was just like a hey, like one of those. Like,
okay.
All right. It was awkward because I had to get blood on my tippy toes.
Because the hole was too high.
Yeah, it was a little too high, and I didn't want him to know because I'm self-conscious. I'm short. And like that's a thing. Like, the women have beaten that into my head so hard that now I feel weird about it forever.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Oh, that's not that.
It's not that short, but it's, at every fucking Tinder and OkCupid profiles. If you're under 6'3", never message me and die in a volcano. But yeah, so I was on my tippy toes, and then afterwards he was just like, all right, that was fun. Come back sometime. I'm like, I will.
That's such
I literally got to thank you. Come again. It was fun.
That's such an absurd kind of like fetish to me, is because it's so much like a giving fetish, know, because you're like, you're getting all of your pleasure from giving someone else pleasure.
Yeah, but see,
it's interesting.
This is a real weird one to talk about in front of these dudes. But yeah, that's actually a thing. Like I get though. Like I'm into that.
Yeah.
Like sexually. Like I mean, and it's I'm a people pleaser. Like I think it's I think that's a fun thing, and it's like a good-hearted. Like I almost trust a guy with a glory hole fetish way more than the guy who's going to a glory hole. Does that make sense? Let me not trust, but I feel like he's probably a better person. I feel like a guy who has a glory hole probably gives homeless people money when he walks by him.
Aww.
You know what I mean? He's just like, I can make your day a little better.
He just wants to make other people's days
he's stoked
better.
that your day is better.
That's really sweet. That's a sweet way to look at glory holes.
Yeah,
that's the most tender way I've ever heard someone.
I mean, that's my whole thing with sex is I just feel like sex has gotten removed from like I feel like casual sex and like some sort of emotional connection and like a tenderness and like some sort of humanity can coexist.
I think that they can to varying degrees.
I think they can and they should. And the problem I have is that a lot of the casual sex I've been having feels like removed of all humanity. It's this weird mechanical, just two action figures being knocked up against each other.
I can't even get turned on if I don't feel emotionally connected to people.
Yeah.
So like casual, like I'm just like, like I even there's I've been trying to like go on dates with people and like after 2 or 3 dates I'm like I still don't want to touch your penis. I don't know if that'll come later, but like I just
if
don't.
If you never made
yet.
me laugh, I'm not going to get hard. Like that's just 100% sure.
Yeah, it's like I have to feel understood and cared for and like all these like emotional things before I like feel attracted to someone.
I don't think that's okay. I think it's a sign of maturity.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think because we're both coming up on 30, and I'm sorry. I know it's, but no, it's. I think it is like a very specific weird thing where we're leaving that kind of early 20s, just sort of like cram it all in here mentality. Like I want to, like a kid in a toy store, and now it's just sort of like I've seen that. I know what that is.
You're like a grizzled old man on the porch, just like, I've seen enough.
I've seen some things. I have a sexual Vietnam vet. I lost my legs, but the stories.
Yeah. I mean.
And that thing of wanting something, deeper than just like, getting fucked and some kind of human connection. It's like that's less fleeting and it feels like more worth your time because your time is valuable.
Well, you had kind of a crazy childhood and you maybe didn't have the best examples of like love and relationships growing up. But do you feel like love is something that can last a lifetime, that you could have one partner for a really long time?
I mean, I think you can. I don't know if... Well, I don't know. If you would have asked me this maybe like a year ago, I would have said, I don't know. Like, I definitely don't think I could. Like, I would have said, like, I would have thought I always kind of thought of myself as somebody who was just going to bounce around like this forever. I feel like I could. I feel like it would be hard to find that person for me because I have a hard time, feeling like I'm holding somebody back with my bullshit. And also with, this career is a very hard thing to maintain with a relationship, the time. I mean, the best relationship I was ever in literally ended like 90% because I was just like, I don't have the emotional energy and like the time to be a good boyfriend to you and to do what I need to do, like comedy wise. And I don't know if that goes away. I don't know if that gets easier. I want to believe it does. Because I would like to, have a life with another person, but I don't know. I know that's not really an answer.
No, it's super. That's something I ask myself that question all the time because I have a similar. I've been an artist, and before I even started doing comedy, the amount of time that I was spending in my studio painting was a huge issue for my partner, and and just the time that you're investing into something that's not them can be a problem.
And it's hard because especially was the person you were dating, were they an artist of any kind or?
They were, but they were 5 years older than me.
Okay.
They had a kid. We lived together. It was a whole thing.
Wow.
Look, man, I've lived a life. Hey.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
I used to be kind of a stepmom. It was weird. I taught a kid how to read.
That makes more sense than anything I've ever heard in my life, Andrea. Because you seem like somebody who, like, your whole energy is, I'm cutting the crusts off. Please love me.
I am. Well, that's kind of one of my problems as a person is I just like lean hard into codependence. I really like to take care of people because I'm good at it. Because like the way that I grew up is, I took care of myself from a very early age, and I also took care of my little brother. So like I'm used to like, hey, it's time to go to school now. Let me help you with that. I'll help you with your homework. Like, so I'm just like, I kind of do that for my boyfriends too.
Okay.
Which is a problem because when I date people, sometimes I invest more into them than is healthy or good for me.
Right.
And I invest into them in lieu of investing into myself and my own goals.
That makes
sense. So like
sense.
I'll help with someone else with their goals, but I won't do the things that I want to do for myself. And then I'll start to resent them quietly and I won't tell them about it.
Yeah, well, that's a problem.
It's really horrible.
Yeah, basically, you've created a whole cyclone there, and then
it's not their fault. It's my fault.
Yeah,
but I'm mad at them about it. It's not rational.
I've done the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
That's something I used to struggle with a lot.
Totally.
I would, like, go over the top to be like, I'm going to take care of everything. I'm the man. I got this. You don't have to do anything. And then I was just like, oh, fuck you. You don't do shit. And it's like, well, yeah, of course she doesn't. Because
you've done it all.
Yeah, because you made it your mission to make her life your fucking problem.
Well, and I think that's part of something that we do, and you also grew up with kind of your childhood's way crazier than mine. But
I don't know a lot about your deal. What is the broad stroke
So,
version?
like, when I was a little kid, my dad was a drug addict and an alcoholic.
Okay.
And there was some pretty crazy stuff that went on when I was very young about, like, my parents were getting divorced, and there's just, like, a lot of yelling, a lot of fighting, a lot of having to leave the house in the middle of the night due to threats, kind of stuff. So it was just, like, I never really felt safe anywhere.
I get that. I get that a lot.
Yeah. So, and I actually, when I did the mushroom trip that gave me the name for this podcast,
all right, I'm going to take off.
Here's the thing.
You are one of 9 people in the world I would let that sentence slide from.
Thank you so much.
And not destroy your soul.
That's the only time I've ever done the drugs.
Okay.
But
and you're back to mom.
My mom told me that I needed to try drugs more. It's the whole thing.
Holy damn it.
My mom told me to lighten up about drugs. They're supposed to be fun. So, yeah. So, like, growing up, it was just like, there's just like a lot of craziness and a lot of just like not a lot of security.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was just like, oh, I have to be my own security. And so I kind of grew up never really feeling like anyone or anything was safe fully.
Right.
Including my caretakers, because, like, even if my mom was there, she was usually really stressed out, or like there's just a lot of stuff going on where I just never really felt secure or safe.
That's interesting.
So I feel as a person when I'm in relationships, if I'm in control and if I'm the one taking care of everything and if I'm the one, doing everything for the other partner, they're less likely to leave because I have control. Mm-hmm. And B, if they do leave, it doesn't matter to me because I'm still the one taking care of everything. I don't let other people take care of me or like care for me in an equal or reciprocal way.
You create this solitude to yourself because it's the only way you know how to exist. You're like, I know I won't fuck me over.
Exactly. Which is not how you're supposed to have relationships with people.
Nah, it makes it hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that is just some real shit.
It's a lot.
So much sense. Well, it's interesting because I feel like I had a very similar kind of situation upbringing wise. And I feel like it almost kind of feels like we went different directions in certain ways where you're sort of more guarded and like safety based. And you're like, all right, well, I got me. I don't trust anybody. Head on a swivel. And I'm just kind of like, nothing is safe. Nothing matters. Fuck it. I'm going to run headfirst into every bad idea I've ever had because I don't care.
I feel like, though, that might also be because you're a dude and I'm a girl.
That makes a ton of sense. Well,
because
explain. Like, it makes sense, but I'm curious.
Well, like, so, like, as a girl, too, there's always the threat of rape and, like, me not being safe anywhere anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I have also been raped.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. No, but like, what I'm saying is, like, but I get it. Like, it's that's a thing where it's like, oh, man, that's a drop in a bucket compared to like every girl who's getting raped constantly.
Yeah,
like,
I never have. I mean, I never have been. I've never had that experience. Yeah. Thank you so much. He just knocked on wood that I don't get raped.
Man. I'm just saying. I'd rather knock on the wood and then you don't. And then it's like, remember when he did the dumb thing? Like,
I love, like, Keith believes in nothing, but he will knock on wood so I don't get raped. There is no God, but maybe this table knock will do it.
Yeah, I don't know what I am anymore.
Do you have crystals? What's the deal? What are you hiding?
No, my mom smoked them all. Hope this doesn't air before Tuesday because that might be a roast joke for somebody.
Oh, man. Who are you roasting?
Sarah Keller.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But anyway, but I get what you're saying, though. It's that idea of sort of because there's always that looming specter of like violence and like something bad, like something not emotionally bad, badass bad could happen to you.
I mean, it does. It happens to dudes too, though.
Totally, but like I don't have to be worried about that in the same way that you do. Like,
It's different.
It's it's way less likely. I'm agreeing with you is what I'm saying.
Okay. But have you ever had that fear when you go on dates with men that might happen?
I did. Well, that's when that happened.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's fine. And it was one of those, if we're grading on a scale of gray areas, it was somewhere between like an Aziz and a Louis. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Like it was one of those, like, I couldn't call the cops about it, but it was definitely like a thing I did not consent to and like tried to stop. And then I had to like puff up like I was fighting like a mountain lion. Like I had to remember like, oh, I'm a big dude. And
I'm so sorry.
No, but it's a thing of like, yeah, it is a thing you get nervous about when you go on dates with men and when you go to meet up with dudes. I think that's part of why I have a hard time sort of like connecting with this dude is because I'm always a little afraid. Because I also just like have gotten beat up a lot of times and just been, like violence in general was such a big part of my upbringing,
right?
Specifically from men. I think now it's hard for me to trust men. Whereas, like, I don't necessarily trust anybody. I definitely, but if I don't trust women, I'm not generally afraid they're going to beat the shit out of me.
We're softer and more pliable.
Well, yeah, I'm just like, push comes to shove, I could beat up some girls. Like,
push comes to shove, you could push or shove a girl.
There you go.
Hey,
there you go.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you feel that dating men has given you more compassion for the women that you date?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that I took for granted or sort of like, the girls would tell me and I would kind of be like, well, I think you're just being a chicken shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying this is what I used to think. But I think, as you get older and you have more experiences, and especially these ones particularly, I'm just sort of like, oh, I get it. And I wish I got it before.
Yeah, I wish that no dude had to experience something horrible to understand.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we should just understand that as just a basic piece of human knowledge, but we're stupid. And we learn from we're real hands-on learners.
Hands-on dick learners. Cool.
That's very good.
Awesome. It's not. I'm sorry. I need a second.
You all right?
I'm okay. Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel like I'm bumming you out.
No, I just I'm pretty much on the verge of tears at all times, so I just
I get that.
It gets sometimes I'm just like I feel stuff a lot, and it's really intense. It's kind of too much. And it's not. It's like I'm not saying don't share with me.
No. I'm going to.
Please do.
I took a goddamn bus here. I'm gonna. You're getting $1.75 worth of emotions, baby girl.
Oh man, I could have picked you up. I'm sorry.
I actually got a ride here.
Oh,
It's
okay,
just a funny thing to say. But no, that's the feeling too much because I feel like I have that problem too, where like I feel too much shit and then I don't really know how to process what are like good feelings and what are like just my brain going crazy and I need to like
relax
filter
it.
Does that make sense?
No,
I'm not
totally.
explaining it well.
Well, for me, like when I was a kid, I cried when the Challenger explosion happened. Like I've cried at baby horse videos on the internet. Like I'll literally just so touched by things.
My mom told me a story from when I must have been like 3 or 4 and I don't remember this at all, but apparently I was walking around the house crying and it was the day Richard Nixon or Ronald Reagan, one of them had died. I think it was Ronald Reagan. And I guess it had been on the news and I was just like crying about it and my mom was just like, what's wrong? And I just went, it's just so sad.
Oh, baby boy.
I know. And I'm just like, oh, I would have probably just gone on Twitter and called Ronald Reagan a faggot now. But I don't know. Do you have a hard time? This is veering off level a little bit, but I'm curious. Do you have a hard time allowing yourself to feel as much now that you work in sort of comedy and there's like a weird, like your emotions and how you channel them and communicate them almost are your currency?
No, in some ways I feel like I almost feel more because or
maybe not that you can't feel, but that you feel weirder sharing that shit with other people.
That I'm sensitive?
Yeah, well, you've kind of built,
This is my brand.
I was going to say, I don't want to sound cynical about it, but that has sort of become your brand.
It is.
I am incredibly jealous of that. You know?
I mean, I think that in some ways that kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier with the divide of masculinity versus femininity and people seeing us is like through the eyes of the world, I'm allowed to feel as much as I want.
Yeah.
And I'm encouraged to feel and I'm expected to feel. And whereas like men, I feel like people want you to be the cool guy that's above emotion more and cynical and like, you know, admitting that you're sad about stuff. Like I get sad too. I'll also make fun of it.
Oh, totally.
And I think that like for me, one of my biggest things is like when I'm crying and then I'll make a joke, like that'll happen because I'm like, it is silly that I'm crying and I recognize that.
Yeah, but that's the most pure version of literally what comedy is.
Yeah, but I also get to feel both, you know? Like you feel the thing and then you step back outside and you see how silly it is to feel the thing.
Yeah.
And you get to have both.
And I think that we've sort of we're making kind of cultural moves to where it is becoming more acceptable for dudes to be more in touch with their emotions. I feel like in the past maybe like 5 years, there's been kind of a big cultural shift away from some of this like sort of toxic masculinity shit. But so much of it is, I think, just so baked into people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially, like, you know, I'm from Orange County. If you're listening and you aren't from California, just picture a tap-out shirt as a flag. And it's, you know, and it's like a thing of like, you're just surrounded by this just fucking dude, bro, fucking feeling just the facts. Like, and then you're like, okay, well, I do. So what do I do?
You know, my childhood was so weird though because my stepdad is a carpenter.
Okay.
And he's very masculine. He like welds steel and built our house from scratch and he's like a dude. But I also saw him bawl his eyes out when our cat died. Oh. You know what I mean? Like he's very tender and sensitive. And so like I got this really beautiful like mix of person in my life that was just like caring and loving. Like he called me yesterday. I called him. I was like, Dad, what'd you do? He's like, I went to a preschool today and I had to fix the doors. He's like, those kids are so cute. And he just lit up. He was so excited because all the kids were asking him questions and wanted to know how the door worked and wanted to touch his tools. And like, he's like, you know, those little Lilliputians are just the cutest things. Like, and of course my dad has hands the size of, you know, hubcaps and they're all calloused and he like fixes cars and like, he's the most masculine man I know, but he's also just like, so tender. And so when I see like men kind of do this, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a caricature of masculinity. Yeah. Where they're so insecure and they have so much to prove. It's weird to me, you know?
Yeah. And that is an interesting, because if anything, I forget where I read this, and if I'm incorrectly like putting this point across and anybody listening knows that, please let me know. But I was reading a thing about Morrissey and how Morrissey is, hear me out, how Morrissey is huge in the Mexican community. And it's like this weird baffling, it's like there's weird cross-cultural things that are interesting. Like, why do black people love anime? Why do Mexicans love Morrissey? Like, those are the two big ones. And I read somewhere that like somebody was explaining, like, if you listen to Mexican music, like Mexican dudes are constantly singing about these like very deep fucking
more
passionate,
tender. Oh,
like
I
heartbreak
love it.
shit, because in that culture,
Maluma, Yamame.
Yeah, feeling is, that's considered masculine, that you feel hard as much as you live hard. Like it's that you that your heart is capable of that much sort of tenderness and pain and love. And I see fucking chalupa. I don't speak Spanish.
God damn it. Yeah. I'm so excited.
But like that idea to me is so fucking cool. And like that's part of what masculinity should be. And I feel like in like sort of, you know, a white American, you know, the definition of what it is to be a man, it just hasn't been part of it at all. Yeah, we think like the fact that we're just like, why do all these Mexican dudes love Morrissey? Because Morrissey feels shit that we all feel, man. Specifically his political views.
He was also bisexual too, wasn't he?
He was asexual.
Oh,
Morrissey.
That's my bad.
Morrissey didn't fuck nobody.
Okay.
Yeah. Which
maybe I'm thinking of someone else then.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want to fact check that later, but I'll do it.
I don't know. Whoever Morrissey's fucking, I feel bad for him. But like, there's no way he's good at it. Oh, he fucked over the rest of the Smiths. Why are we doing a Morrissey riff here? Anyway, we're talking about feelings.
feelings and love and stuff. Where are we at for time? I have no idea. We have 5 minutes left?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
So we talked about love. We trauma bonded. I don't know how to, one of my goals this year is to go on dates with people without trauma bonding.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Because you immediately, as soon as you're on a date with somebody and they're like, oh, I had a terrible childhood. I'm like, oh, let's be in love. We're just two shelter dogs licking each other's wounds. How romantic.
How else are we supposed to love? Yeah, it's just like, what if we bonded over like shared passions and caring for one another?
I feel like the people who romantically get interested in me fall into one of two camps where they are either people from similar garbage circumstances who are just like, you get it. I get it. Or it's like these people who have never had anything that bad happen to them and are just like, oh, I'll save you.
They have
like,
little Florence Nightingale in them?
A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit of that. And, it's just interesting because I feel like I don't know which one is harder to deal with.
They're both
long term.
Equally, in a way, they're like fetishizing your pain, which is weird.
A little bit, yeah. And not everybody. I've dated people who haven't. Like the relationships that have lasted longer are people who don't. But the ones who do, I'm just kind of like, this feels a little gross. After a while.
I've definitely fallen into that camp where I like feel like this is something my mom told me when I was a little kid, and I've tried to like write bits about it, but it is sad, so it's hard. But when I was a little kid, my mom told me that essentially that one of the reasons my dad kind of got his life together and didn't hurt himself is because of his love for me and my brother. So there's this concept from the time I was very young that like my love could save people, which is a dangerous thing to imprint into the mind of a child that is going to go on and try to have sexual and like loving experiences with other people.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
It's not, I mean, like I think she wanted me to know that my dad loved and valued me, but I think it kind of like made me feel like, oh, if someone has enough love, then that can fix them. And that is not really good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You don't think that's true to a point, though?
I think it is true to a point, but I think in the meantime, when I'm trying to save another person, I'm a lot of times wind up neglecting myself.
Yeah,
and
I get what you're saying.
That's not necessarily healthy or good.
No, not at
It's
all.
like it can't be just your love that saves another person. Like that person ultimately has to save themselves.
Yeah, your love can motivate you to make better decisions.
Right.
But
right.
It's not a fucking superpower.
It's not.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that is like a tough line to walk, is because I do believe that everyone needs love, and I do believe that everyone is worth loving.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that I need to be in a sexual romantic relationship with someone while they quit a hard drug, like so there's like a fine line.
That's 100%. Yeah.
There's boundaries to it, and like finding out how to like love people, but also like healthy, like keep them safe is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, no, that is very, very tricky. It's that's the perfect point.
It's this beautiful tightrope act, you know? You gotta.
I imagine this is going to be the weirdest thing. I imagine you're a great ex-girlfriend.
I try really hard to
like.
be.
I would you're somebody who I think if we broke up, like I feel like we would be super good friends and like still be able to like text each other in the middle of the night and be like, I'm sad, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, like in like a non-bummer way.
I'm super cool. All the dudes I've dated here, I'm super cool with. Mm-hmm. There's one that I've had a few problems with because he doesn't know what he wants and he keeps trying to like enter back into a sexual relationship, or like he'll like flirt with me really overtly and then not want to date me but want to have sex, and I had to like give him boundaries, and be like, hey man, like you can't do that. Yeah, no,
and that's totally fair. Yeah,
it's not cool.
I've had exes where I've had to like draw a very specific line.
Yeah, like we have to have boundaries. The exes that I had the relationship, I almost married a dude, right? And that ended not well. It did not end well.
Nobody who almost got married had it end well.
It didn't end great.
If it ended well, he would have gotten married.
Exactly. We were like engaged was the whole thing. Yeah. So that I don't talk to that dude, and we don't have like a cool, chill relationship.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Like I don't think if you break up with somebody and you don't have any kind of relation with them afterwards, that's a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think there's like a beauty. Like one of my best friends in the world is my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And like I know that's actually been a point of contention with other relationships I've been in since. But like,
is this your ex-girlfriend from when you were younger?
Yeah, from like a few years. Like we broke up like I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 2.5 now.
Okay.
I'm bad at time. But yeah, like I've dated other people since who were just like, I think you're still like in love with her or fucking her. I'm like, no, not at all. Like we just are friends. And like I think people struggle to understand that that's like a dynamic that can exist.
I think if you're bisexual, how do you have friends that you're close with that share your sexuality that like girlfriends don't get jealous of? You know what I mean? Like to some extent,
Yeah.
like any close friendship you have with women might be troublesome, or any close friendship you have with like gay men might feel threatening. You know, like
It's like you can only be friends with like straight dudes.
yeah, like what? How are you supposed to have friends?
I know, and it's just sort of like a thing of like, I don't know. I like being friends with the women and gay dudes. I'm not going to try and fuck all of them, especially not if I'm dating somebody.
You can't. It's statistically difficult. I mean, there's too many people.
Yeah, no, it's just a long. Yeah, I got a lot of friends. I don't know. It'd take a minute to work through.
Oh, I think about that. I do have that problem with men, though. I think like for me, being friends with men here, I found to be somewhat problematic.
Yeah.
There's like cool dudes that like I feel super great about.
Right.
And then there's other dudes where I'm like, are we friends or are you just like waiting?
Right.
You know,
and
like,
I
I'm
think
just
dudes
like,
are
oh.
real shitty about doing that.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we don't know we're doing it necessarily. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like you're lying to yourself as much as you're lying to the girl sometimes. You know, like
yeah,
dudes will be like,
that's what I mean.
no, I'm not trying to fuck you. And then it's like, okay, but as soon as I'm dating a dude, you just like disappear. So
Like,
it's
I've been in situations where it's like I want to believe I'm just friends with this girl and like we're just hanging out or whatever. But like I know in my like heart of hearts that's not really what's happening. But I'm trying to be cool about it so as to not blow up like the friendship.
yeah,
And that's a tricky place to be.
it's awkward.
Then it's like you're a scumbag if you stop being friends with them because you couldn't get over your fucking romantic shit. But then you're a scumbag if you make the move because then you feel like you were like the guy hiding and like waiting or whatever.
My biggest problem with that dynamic is in comedy when when I want to like be on shows and drive to gigs and like hang out and like there just aren't a lot of women in comedy. And like I have my girlfriends that are in comedy that I like super tight with, but sometimes it's like, oh, I like this dude, like we're cool, we're buddies, whatever.
Yeah.
But then like there will become a moment of like sexual tension that I'm like, man, I didn't want to deal with this at work today. I just wanted to go tell jokes.
I've started making a point, and I swear this is not me trying to like, white knight or anything, but this is the thing. I made a point where like I want to take girls with me to open for shows as much as I can.
We would appreciate it.
Well, yeah,
It's
because I think there's a lot of very funny like female comics now like who don't get to go do shit on the road, and I think a lot of it is because of that fucking dynamic.
There's
of, like,
an awkward dynamic.
You don't want to feel like obligated to like, oh, well, he took me to open, so I, should at least entertain the idea that maybe we're gonna fuck or date or whatever.
Well, and there's an assumption too, like if we go out with a dude that we're fucking anyway. Even if we're not, even if they are cool.
Totally.
So, like,
I take Nicole Buchanan on the road with me constantly.
She's so great.
Because
I love
she's one of
her
my best
so
friends
much.
in the world. She has a car, which is a huge part of it.
Super funny.
And she's also super fucking funny. And the amount of people who are just like, oh, so how long have you been fucking Nicole? I'm like, I'm not fucking Nicole at all. The point I was making is I'm never going to take somebody who I'm either fucking or that I want to fuck on the road with me because I don't want to cross those straight. And I've fucked not a small amount of comedians, if I'm being totally honest.
That's same here.
And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. That's a debate that will rage on forever. But my deal is always like, for the most part, I don't want to take somebody who I'm in that space with on the road with me because I don't want to cross those things and make anyone feel like they didn't get a show because they were funny. They got it because I wanted to have sex with them. That's the thing I hate. I hate that dudes do that.
It's a horrible feeling sometimes as a female comic to not know which camp you're in. Yeah. Because you're like, was I funny?
Yeah. So
I've had
to any female comics listening, if I ever ask you to do a show, it means I'm not going to fuck you.
Yay! Good job, Keith. I have gold stickers in my purse. I'll get you. When boys do good feminist things, they get a gold star, and that's how we operate.
Where's my trophy? I just rip off this T-shirt. I'm wearing one of the good ones under it. And here's the thing. I hate saying that out loud because it feels like so self-patting on the back, but it's like a thing that just bothers me because it is shitty for comedy.
It is shitty.
More than anything else.
It is shitty.
I'm just like, well, because I go to these towns, like I go, do like fucking like Fresno and like the middle of Oklahoma and shit. And you bring any female comedian there who like knows what the fuck they're doing, and these crowds lose their minds because they never get to see funny women. Yeah, there's not a thriving feminist comedy scene in fucking Missouri.
What?
But then they never get to see them because dudes don't bring them out, and then they don't want to go because they feel weird, and I feel like for whatever reason not enough of them getting booked to headline. That's a whole separate thing, but it's just
if I have a show in the IE or if I have a show somewhere else, I always try to bring. I'll even if I've only been booked for me and I find out that I'm the only female on the bill, I will call and I'll be like, hey man, it's just a really long drive or whatever. And I'll like on the DL bring another female comic.
Right.
So that when I get off stage, if I do badly, they're not like women aren't funny. They're just like, that woman's not funny. This one's great.
Oh, that's so funny.
It helps me so much.
You're padding it out.
It does because and I always bring someone that I think is funnier than me.
Yeah.
And it helps me and it helps make it so that more women can go there.
Exactly.
Because it's so exhausting.
No, I cannot imagine a bigger nightmare than being a woman and doing comedy. Like
it's super fun. I mean, but part of it is that's the fun part. Like that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it's kind of having to build your own thing.
It's just like I'm like a sleeper cell of a person.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I just get to be like, oh, she wears a dress. This gal has some jokes. That's amazing.
I just got a little moxie.
Look at her.
Oh, wow.
It's so funny. and then afterwards I bring my drill out and I fix the stage and as you do.
Get you a girl who can do both.
That has been a problem with me is like I know how to use power tools better than all the men I date and they get upset about it. I'm like,
what a weird thing.
Just let me fix the shelf. Why do you?
Yeah, why are you dating Tim Allen from Home Improvement?
Oh God. Okay, we always wrap this thing up. We wandered all over the map here. I'm not mad about it. I like just hanging out with you. Yeah. It's super fun.
I like hanging out with you too.
It's super cool.
Can we just be actual friends?
Yeah, you want to be friends?
Yeah, because I really, really like you, and I think you're super cool, and I feel like, and it's. So this is just like a real moment, and it kind of connects to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
There have been times when I've talked to you in the DMs, and I wanted to just keep talking to you because you're cool, and then I'm like, oh, but she's gonna think I'm trying to fuck. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's so nice. I always like talking with you.
Yeah. So I just want to make it now that we've put it officially on wax. We're friends. You're cool. Come do Mean Boys.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous to write jokes and get yelled at by Connor, but I'm so excited.
You get used to it.
So we usually end this podcast by kind of talking about something that we're afraid of in love. So when you feel yourself kind of starting to fall in love with someone, do you have specific fears or reservations about being in a relationship? And maybe what are you trying to do to overcome those fears?
Oh, damn, girl, that's interesting. Something I'm afraid of when I'm starting off a relationship. I am afraid that I will overcommit emotionally too fast. That's a problem I've had in the past because I am very. I fall for the puppy love moment and the infatuation and it's beautiful and it's we had our weird just everything's great and I will get very hung up on that and very caught up in this idea of it will always be this perfect. And then I always am kind of worried that we're going to get 3 weeks in and I'm going to realize, oh, I've made a terrible mistake. But now there's another person on the hook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who has not realized that we've made a mistake. I never want to hurt anybody. And that's my biggest fear is that I am going to be emotionally irresponsible and somebody else is going to get hurt because of that. Because I don't mind. I mean, me getting hurt sucks, but
you can deal with it.
Well,
your consequences.
It's my shit. It's my emotional pain. It's my whatever. So that's my deal to deal with. And if I make a decision that I know might be bad and it hurts me, fair enough. That's my choice to make. But hurting somebody else because I was too stupid to not stop myself from doing something, that's a thing that I'm constantly afraid of.
Are you afraid that you'll like say I love you too fast? Or
I've done that in exactly 400% of the relationships I've ever been in.
Oh, like you don't fully feel it, but you just want them to know that you care. Or
well, sometimes it's like I do feel it, and then it's just like you realize, like, did I feel it, or was it just like the chemical rush of like, I think I love you, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm bad at unpacking my emotions and knowing like when the appropriate time to say things are, what anything means. I'm figuring it out.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And I have a tough time because a lot of times like I'll love people before I enter into a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. So like I love them. They're my friend. I like them. I want to hang out with them.
Exactly,
They're great.
Yeah.
So like I do love them in some capacity, but do I love you in the let's get married and live together forever and I want no one else but you forever?
Yeah.
Do I love you like that? I don't know yet. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, well, the thing is, you never know, though. You never.
I know.
You know, people get divorced after they've been married 40 fucking years. Like,
so weird.
You know.
Although, you know what's interesting? I talked to my mom about this the other day, and I was like when, because I was asking her, I was like, when do you know, like, that you like someone? Like, do you know that you like someone the first time you hang out with them? And there's a few people that I feel that way about, but very rarely do I like anybody I've dated the first time I meet them. Okay. Like, usually I'm just like, okay. And they just keep hanging around. And then I kind of, like them.
All right.
Yeah. But my mom was like, she was like, with your dad, I really did not like him at all first. And then, that turned out to not be a good relationship. But then with my stepdad, she's like, I liked him right away. Right. I just didn't know if it would work, but I knew that I liked him.
Yeah.
And so I think that is something where I've found that way, even with friendships and with relationships, is like, if I trust my first instincts with someone, like if I like someone just right away and I like the beauty of who they are, that is always better than if I'm like, don't really like them and I just like let them talk me into liking them. Because in the end, those qualities that you saw of them at a distance are actually the truest nature of who they are sometimes. But you get so close, you are overlooking parts of them.
Well, yeah, and when you're seeing somebody from a distance, they don't necessarily know they're being watched. So they're not putting on a different version of themselves. No, but you know what I mean? Like they don't know to hide these like character imperfections. Not even imperfection sounds like you're looking for somebody perfect, but like these things about them that like maybe would be like a turn off to you or like make you like not want to be friends with them or date them or whatever.
And that's why.
And then when they know you're looking, they're like, all right, well, fucking put that down. Bring out the peacock Keith.
the better version of me.
And it's like, I'm very confident and everything I say is amazing.
I have not cried on a first date yet. And that's really misleading to people.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't believe you. I don't. Because you've almost cried 3 times on this podcast.
I've definitely cried on a date before. I'm not a monster.
Oh, man.
I think I did freak a dude out because he like asked me about my family one. This was like a month or 2 ago. Like I went on a first date with a dude and he's like, how many siblings do you have? And I'm like going through some stuff with my brother right now. And I was like, I don't really want to talk about it right now.
And that's like line 1 of first date.
Yeah, it's
like,
horrible.
All right, where are you from? What's your family?
It's horrible. It's like, it's affecting me way too much.
I get that.
It's
that's
really
so
bad.
Funny.
Yeah, so it's super fun. Yeah. This has been really fun, Keith.
This was fucking
I could hang out with you all day.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell people who you are, or not who you?
Yeah, my name is Connor McSpadden. I'm a big autistic gaylord, and I love soup. I'm Keith Carey. I host the Mean Boys podcast. You can find out more about that at meanboyspodcast.com or on the Starburns Audio Network. Follow me on all my social media at Keith Tells Jokes, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. When is this going to go on?
This will come out in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, I'll be on tour somewhere, so follow me on Twitter and my dates will be up there.
Awesome. If you guys wait, hold on a second. You're gonna have to edit this. I'm sorry. I wrote an outro.
Don't you dare edit this out. Leave it in. All right. Now I just want to, before you do this, intro was a little rocky. You got there, but you barely got there. You C-minused it.
I need a pep talk.
Yeah. You slept through the homework, but you aced the test. But I think this outro is going to be your whole shit. Fucking rock it out.
It's a lot of arrows. I don't think it's going to go well. Let's
A lot of
try
arrows.
this.
A lot of arrows. And you know what they're pointing to? Success, Andrea.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
That was it? That's what you wrote down?
Okay.
All right. Take two. I believe in you.
I can't. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to Andrea. I hate you. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to Andrea Loves Everybody. Is there a creepy ghost in here? What is this?
Yeah, Al.
If you liked this podcast,
Here's the thing. I'm not going to do it again, but you're going to spend the whole rest of the outro wondering if I'm going to do it again.
I hate you so much. Okay. If you guys like this podcast, you can follow me at Andrea Loves Everybody on Instagram. You can also follow me at Andrea Loves Pod on Twitter. Or if you want to know about my show dates, stand up, any of that kind of stuff, you can follow me at Sundress Comic. And please email us at AndreaLovesEverybody@gmail.com if you have a pitch for the show, or if you... or if you have ideas or anything you want to share with me, even if you want to just tell me how cool you think Keith is or how much you love my mom, that'd be
so
cool. Thanks, guys. Bye. Love you. Bye.